Hello, folks. This is Pastor Mike Hoggard, pastor of Bethel Church in Festus, Missouri, and head of prophetic research ministry with another Watchman video broadcast. You know, years ago, I learned a word. I like to learn words. Words are interesting to me. This one was a word called oxymoron. I'd never heard a word like that before, but I understood what it meant. An oxymoron is supposedly two words that go together that are like opposites, like jumbo shrimp. You know, shrimp are little bitty and jumbo is like really big. There are several others that I won't talk about today. But one of them is called government intelligence. Opposites, government and intelligence. There seems to be a vast market in what is called government intelligence. Not the intelligence network that is around the world through the CIA, where we're watching every bad person out in the world and overthrowing dictatorships and doing all kinds of cloak and dagger stuff that you see in movies. But I'm talking about cloak and dagger stuff right here in America. The government spying on its people, wanting to know what our secrets are, what your secret is, what my secret is, whatever. They want to know where our secret broadcasting compound is. And you know what? I think if they dig close enough and deep enough, they'll probably be able to find it out. Several articles here that just came across my desk this week. Here's a report: U.S. intelligence community inefficient and unmanageable. This is according to CNN. The September 11, 2001 attacks have created an intelligence community so large and unwieldy that it's unmanageable and inefficient, and no one knows how much it costs, according to a 2-year-long investigation by the Washington Post. Ahead of the publication, many in the intelligence community worried that the stories would disclose too much information about contractors and the classified tasks they handle, because, you know, the government really doesn't want us to know exactly how many people or how much money is involved in monitoring the average American citizen. The article goes on to say the Post article that appeared in Monday's edition says its investigation uncovered a TSA, a top secret America, hidden from public view and lacking in thorough oversight. The Post investigation, and here's what I found interesting. The Post investigation found that, quote, 33 building complexes for top secret intelligence work are under construction or have been built since September 2001, or the equivalent of nearly 3 Pentagons. Now I want to stop right here. And I just see patterns. And somebody sent me this article, and they saw the same patterns as I did. I see patterns, and I see things, especially when they're released in the news media. I think things seem to be deliberate. 33. This idea of 33. There might be more, there might be less, but they're releasing this number 33, and we know that number has to do with the Illuminati, Freemasonry. It is a number in the Bible associated with the beast. And I want us to make sense out of all this, because we're living in a country right now where at one time we were free. We had a nation built upon what was called limited government. Now I want you to remember that I said that, because I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. Limited government. In other words, the government is going to limit itself and allow you, here it is, to govern yourself. The government is going to stand in the background, is going to do certain constitutional things, but other than that, you're the one who is responsible for your own actions, your own character, your own deeds. You're the one responsible, not the government. But now we see a changeover, and a changeover is coming because we have a beast, Revelation chapter 13, that he is going to, in fact, you know what? Let's go to Revelation chapter 6, because here is something, and I want you to look at this. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. This whole conquering concept and this whole dominion concept, basically Lucifer seeks to have dominion over mankind. There is going to be a new world order, global governments where everyone is being dominated over and everyone is being governed from a central location. Now, the best way to do that is to monitor. You have to have a monitoring system in place. And so here we have this article being released to the general public. 33 building complexes for top secret intelligence work are under construction. Not in Zimbabwe, not in France, not in Moscow, but right here in the United States of America, all over the place. The article goes on and says some 1,271 government organizations. I didn't even know we had that many government organizations. 1,931 private companies work on programs related to counterterrorism, homeland security, and intelligence in about 10,000 locations across the United States, according to the Post, with an estimated 854,000 people holding top secret security clearances. That's more people than what lives in Washington, D.C., in this country, who have top secret security clearance. There's been so much growth since 9/11 that getting your arms around that, not just for the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, but for any individual, for the Director of the CIA, for the Secretary of Defense, is a challenge, Defense Secretary Robert Gates told the Post last week. In other words, September 11th created a monster. We know that we live in a society right now where practically everything that we do in life is or going to be monitored in some way and in some fashion. Here's another article. This is from WorldNet Daily. Drones in U.S. skies to keep eye on us. In May of last year, David Kilcullen, a counterinsurgency advisor to General David Petraeus, from 2006 to 2008, co-authored a strategic analysis, Death from Above, Outrage Down Below, New York Times, May 17, 2009. He emphasized that the public outrage among Pakistan civilians caused by our drone attacks is hardly limited to the region in which they take place. Extensively reported by the news media, the persistence of these attacks on Pakistani territory offends people's deepest sensibilities, alienates them from their government, and contributes to Pakistan's instability. A year later, in Foreign Policy in Focus, Khan Hallinan, reporting on the increase in drone strikes in Pakistan, notes that the continuing controversy over the actual number of corollary civilian deaths is, quote, a sharply debated issue. Neither President Obama, who authorizes them, nor the CIA, which does the actual killing, directly gives us the numbers. As for the Pakistani government's figures, Hallinan continues, the word civilian is a slippery one because no one knows exactly what criteria the United States uses to distinguish a militant from a civilian. Is someone with a gun a militant? Since a large number of males in the frontier regions of Pakistan carry guns, that definition would target a huge number of people. I mentioned this life-ending ambiguity in drone strikes to a person who claims to be concerned with human rights abuses. Shrugging, she said, I don't have to worry about that. The drones aren't coming here, and since they're pilotless, there are no American casualties, so I'm all for their use. But drones are indeed in our skies. Constitutionalist John Whitehead, who is a careful master researcher, points out in Drones Over America, the unbeknownst to most Americans, remote-controlled pilotless aircraft have been employed domestically for years now. They were first used as a national security tool for patrolling Americans' borders. We know that's not working very well, don't we? And then as a means of monitoring citizens. Drones, pilotless aircraft, cheap pilotless aircraft that can be flown practically anywhere to watch everything that is being done in the United States of America. We think it's okay. We think it's great that we can send these pilotless drone aircraft into Pakistan or Afghanistan and keep our soldiers safe. But that same technology, and we've seen and reported on several things that are going on in this country in past Watchman video broadcasts, where there are contractors and there are private companies that are building these things, not for military use. They are specifically targeting as a client American police forces all across the country, trying to sell them on the idea that they could buy into these drones, they could monitor an entire county so that, no one's doing anything wrong. You stop and think about what they could be used for. They could, as the article talked about, they could be used to patrol the borders. We know that's not working out very well, but anyway, they could be used for that. Let's say that, and I'll tell you this: Jefferson County, Missouri, which is where we are. Man, I shouldn't have told everybody the location of our secret broadcasting compound. Oh, I told you they would find out. I told you. Anyway, in Jefferson County, Missouri, this is known as the methamphetamine capital of the world. More meth labs, and I don't know why. More meth labs are found in this county than there are in any other place, and that was the last I heard. So let's say that drones could fly around through the air spotting methamphetamine manufacturing or marijuana fields or any number of dangerous things, or people meeting at secret conclaves in order to plot the destruction of the American government. They're just watching everything that you're doing. By the way, these things not only can just use cameras to see what's overhead, they can be flying around picking up Wi-Fi signals, cell transmissions, any number of things that can be detected and monitored. That's what these things can do, and you would almost never know about it. Remember, there was a time in this country when it was supposed by the founders that the Constitution was written for people who would govern themselves. Now, I hate the fact that we're doing this to American citizens. And I would say, I think we ought to rise up against this. Hang on. We got something to talk about here in a minute. Now Walmart's in on the scene. Walmart radio tags to track clothing. Walmart Stores, Inc. plans to roll out sophisticated electronic ID tags to track individual pairs of jeans and underwear. The first step in a system that advocates say better controls inventory, but some critics raise privacy concerns. I wonder why anybody would have a problem with a radio transmitter in their underpants. Starting next month, the retailer will place removable smart tags on individual garments that can be read by a handheld scanner. Walmart workers will be able to quickly learn, for instance, which size of Wrangler jeans is missing, with the aim of ensuring shelves are optimally stocked and inventory tightly watched. If successful, the radio frequency ID tags will be rolled out on other products at Walmart's more than 3,750 stores. Radio frequency ID monitoring systems. Let's have little radio tags on pants. Let's have it on boxes of macaroni. Let's have it, you know what? Why don't we just put it on people? That way we can see if they buy a pair of jeans at Walmart, we can know when they put it on, where they go. This is what we're into. And it does. It just makes us furious that everything that we're doing is being watched, recorded, tracked. I mean, what do we live in? Soviet Russia, for crying out loud? And it just makes us angry. But, I'll tell you, if my kid was stolen by some weirdo, I'd want to know where he was. If my car was stolen, what an ingenious way of finding out where my car is. And why would I be afraid? I mean, I live in America, right? Why in the world would I be afraid of my car being stolen or my child being kidnapped? Why would I be afraid of that? Because, people, we have gotten to a place in this country. You know what? We can blame the government. We can blame the New World stinking order. We can blame George Bush. We can blame the Illuminati. I'm telling you, God is just using the things in this world to give people really what it is that they asked for to begin with. We're only reaping in America the seeds that we have sown. We ceased and are continuing to cease being a nation where people can govern themselves. We're just running out of people that know how to control their own actions, to have inhibitions, to have guidelines, barriers, roadblocks, bars. We know that we're running out of people who can just live a moral life. We're running out of those people. And we live in an increasingly wicked day. And so here it is. God is using, and in fact, let me read this verse here, Romans chapter 2, verse 14. For when the Gentiles which have not the law, that's us, do by nature the things contained in the law. You know, like we automatically get married, right? I mean, that's in the law. We know that it's wrong to steal. We know that it's wrong to kill. When we do those things that are contained in the law, these, having not the law, are a law unto themselves, which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness. That's, in fact, let me stop right here. That's why it's hard for you to lie. Okay? You've probably seen some of these things, and I am really fascinated right now with body language, and I have a reason on how the mind works, and I have a reason why, because it has to do with imagery and imaginations and the coming of the wicked one in the last days. But anyway, you know, these people that can read your body language, some people can actually tell by looking at you that you're lying. Law enforcement are trained to be able to look at somebody and read their body language and tell whether they're lying. And the reason why is that we have what's called a conscience. Now, I like words. That word means with knowledge. Okay, con means with, and that conscience means with knowledge. And so when you have done something, you know that you did it. And when someone asks you, did you do this? Your body has to go through like all these little contortions. Some of them are easy to see and some of them are not, in order to tell a lie, because you know that you did it. But why? Because this Bible's right. Your conscience is bearing witness against you. And it will when you go stand before God. Their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another. In the day, now watch this, in the day when God shall judge what? The secrets of men by Jesus Christ according to my gospel. I think, you know, this theme throughout the Bible, that there's nothing hidden that shall not be revealed. Be sure your sins will find you out. Lust when it is conceived bringeth forth sin. Sin when it is finished bringeth forth death. There is nothing in secret that is not going to be made manifest somehow, some way. And I tell you this, listen, I don't like all this stuff being monitored. I don't like this stuff being tracked. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. There are some things that I would like to be private. But I will tell you, and I've had conversations with people on the phone, and I'd ask them questions, what do you think about this? And they'd say, well, I'd rather not say on the phone because I think they're listening. You know what? I don't care. I don't care that they're listening. The Bible says that we're supposed to be an open epistle, read by all men. As born-again Christians, if we conduct our lives in a moral manner according to the Word of God, then really we have nothing to hide from people. We have nothing to hide. Now, granted, I don't want the government viewing me when I go into the restroom or anything else like that, but we live in a society right now where people need to be monitored. This is nothing but the judgment of God. God is judging the secrets of men. Let's say that your neighbor is plotting with some Muslim terrorists to destroy a building in the nearest city. Your next door neighbor. Somebody needs to know about this. I know, I don't know. Maybe I'm just taking this too far, but I just see a situation in life right now where this Bible is coming to light. It's coming true. And the fact that we have all this monitoring system in the world only indicates the truth of the Word of God. God is going to expose the secrets. Speaking of exposing secrets, Supreme Court backs homosexuals against Christians. The Supreme Court has given a California public law school the go-ahead to defund a Christian student club for restricting membership to Christians willing to abstain from sex until marriage. The case came down to whether the University of California Hastings College of the Law, that's funny, in San Francisco could revoke funding and other privileges of the local chapter of the Christian Legal Society because the society required members to affirm a faith statement and abide by a moral code prohibiting sex outside of marriage. This violated its non-discrimination policy, according to the college, by excluding homosexuals from both membership and access to the public funds available to clubs from the school. While the court seems to have kept its June 28 decision narrow in its reach, critics across a broad political range from free speech advocate Adam Goldstein through Christian groups to the Gays and Lesbians for Individual Liberty have condemned the decision, along with 4 of the court's 9 members. Kim Colby of the National Christian Legal Society is especially concerned about what it means for future religious freedom cases of broader scope. It was troubling that a majority of the Supreme Court did not seem to realize how important a statement of faith is to Christian organizations and has been for 2,000 years. We were told, I went to a seminar several years ago, a man by the name of David Gibbs of the Christian Law Association, and I will tell you that if you were given a choice to come if you're ever given a choice to go hear David Gibbs speak, I encourage it 100%. This guy's a brilliant guy. He's a great Christian, fundamental. He's a King James Bible believer. I mean, I love it. But he said, make sure in your church's faith statement that you have specific wording, that you're not going to hire anybody that is a homosexual or anything like that is against the Bible. It's against your church's religious teaching. And so we have incorporated that here at Bethel Church into our faith statement. However, can we not clearly see, especially in light of this, can we not clearly see a time when churches are going to be forced to hire someone? He gave an example, and at the time we had a daycare. He gave an example. He said, let's say you're running a church daycare, and a homosexual will come in, and he said they will send them out to these places. Send them out to these places to get hired. He said, you either hire this guy or this gal, or you write them a check for about $100,000 because that's what they're going to get in a lawsuit, unless you have it in your church's faith statement. But anyway, this is setting the stage for the government telling you as a Christian or you as a church, you cannot discriminate against anybody for any reason. I don't care what it is. The protected species of homosexuals are the ones running this country. Here's another one. Lose Christianity or face expulsion. Georgia student told to read gay lit, attend pride parade, change beliefs. A lawsuit against Augusta State University in Georgia alleges school officials essentially gave a graduate student in counseling the choice of giving up her Christian beliefs or being expelled from the graduate program. School officials Mary Jane Anderson Wiley, Paulette Schenck, and Richard Diener demanded student Jen Keaton, 24, go through a remediation program after she asserted homosexuality is a behavioral choice, not a state of being, as a professor said, according to the complaint. Also named as defendants in the case that developed in May and June are other administrators and the University System's Board of Regents. The remediation program was to include sensitivity training on homosexual issues, additional outside study on literature promoting homosexuality, and the plan that she attend a gay pride parade and report on it. Ticks me off. Makes me mad. This sounds like the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, where if you or the People's Republic of China, where if you didn't have the views that the government approved of, then they sent you to an education facility. We're going to educate you. Listen to when people talk about education, especially in the government realm, when they talk about earmarking certain money for educating people. It's about brainwashing is what it is. It's about, who was it? This gal that got fired I was listening to the radio this morning. This gal that got fired from I think the USDA or something like that. for supposedly making racist comments, and it turned out that she really wasn't. And Andrew Breitbart ran the story. He ran the edited video, and it all turned bad, and this and that and the other. So they were interviewing this gal on CNN this morning, and they said, that she thought about suing Breitbart over this thing and to get some money out of it. And the CNN commentator said, "What more do you want? What more do you want? Do you want to maybe shut down Breitbart.com? That's a pretty good idea." Why shut them down? Why shut them down? Why? Because they reported something that apparently wasn't true or taken in the wrong context. My goodness, CNN does it all the time. The New York Times does it. The Washington Post does it. For heaven's sake, I've probably done it over a year and a half. They want to shut them down. Why? Because they don't have the right government-approved views. The word persecution comes to mind. I want to pray for this lady because she is being persecuted, and you know what? Bring it on. Bring on the persecution. But we're being run in this country by sodomites. They are running the show. They're the ones who are controlling the agenda inside the United States of America. And it's going to get to a point, now you listen to this, it's going to get to a point where God's going to say, okay, I've had enough. I'm done. I'm going to take care of this problem right now. Look at what He promised in Deuteronomy chapter 29. He promised that the whole land thereof is brimstone and salt and burning, that it is not sown, nor beareth, nor any grass groweth therein, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and Admah and Zeboim, which the Lord overthrew in His anger and in His wrath. Even all the nations shall say, Wherefore hath the Lord done this unto this land? What meaneth the heat of this great anger? Then men shall say, Because they have forsaken the covenant of the Lord God of their fathers, which He made with them when He brought them forth out of the land of Egypt. I want to ask you a question. I want you to think about this. And this is not meant to incite anybody in any way, shape, or form to go out and hurt another individual. Not at all. But there are certain things, because vengeance belongeth to the Lord, okay? But there were certain times, there were certain kings that rose up in the land of Israel. And when they rose up, they had a right heart toward God. And one of the things they did, like Josiah, one of the things they did was they put out the Sodomites. Why did they do that? Because they recognized and realized that that agenda was so powerful and so strong, and it was something that God was so against that He promised them that left unchecked, and if it went too far, God would make that land exactly like Sodom and like Gomorrah. And here again, as Christians, that is not how we react. But I will tell you that we are living in a dangerous situation in this country because of the amount of sodomy and the control and the power that the sodomites of this country have over practically. Do they have it in the White House? Do the sodomites seem to be able to control a lot of congressmen? Barney Frank, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, several others. Are they in control of Hollywood? Duh. Are they in control of the music industry? Yes. Are they in control of the film industry? Brokeback Mountain. Are they in control of the churches? They're getting there. Are they in control of the judicial system? Looks like that's where we're at right now. And I'm just saying that there's just so many things in America seem to be piling up to provoke God to anger. Now's the time to pray. Now's the time to watch. Now's the time to evangelize and try to warn people. Hey, we're running out of time. We are running out of time. This portion of the Watchman video broadcast got a new sponsor here. The 666 Barcelona wristwatch. Always on the hunt for the coolest new timepieces. We discovered this very unique watch brand in a recent trip to Barcelona, Spain. Don't judge by the name alone. This is not the devil's brand of choice. He wears a Rolex Daytona, by the way. This collection is instead built upon the mystery of numbers, the order of all things, and that timing is everything. I left mine. No, I don't have one anyway. Here's something interesting that somebody shared with me this week, and I tell you what, I see this for what it is. Teen fears over digital drug craze. Videos posted on YouTube show a young girl freaking out and leaping in fear, a teenager shaking violently, and a young boy in extreme distress. This is the world of what's called eye-dosing, the new craze sweeping the internet in which teenagers use so-called digital drugs to change their brains in the same way as real-life narcotics. They believe the repetitive. Now, I tell you, I want to stop right here. Parents, beware. Parents, please beware of what your kids are listening to and what they're doing on the internet. I'm reporting this not to give somebody an idea. I'm reading the article. There's no way in the world I'm going to go to YouTube and find out what that is by listening to it. I don't need to research LSD by taking it. I don't need it, okay? So just please be careful and watch out for what your kids are doing. Listen to the wording here. They believe the repetitive, have we talked about that before with contemplative prayer? Drone-like music, will give them a high that takes them out of reality, only legally available and downloadable on the internet. The craze has so far been popular among teenagers in the U.S., but given how easily available the videos are, it's just a matter of time before it catches on in Britain. Those who come up with the doses claim, listen to this, different tracks mimic different sensations you can feel by taking drugs such as ecstasy or smoking cannabis. The reactions have been partially skeptical, but some songs have become wildly popular, receiving nearly 500,000 hits on YouTube. And I want you to think about this for a minute. Think about these vibrations and waves. We've talked about waves before, the waves and the floods of ungodly men. Think about the symbol for the age of Aquarius, these two waves, sound waves. I want you to think about Lucifer and how he operates. I mean, my goodness, good preachers have been preaching against music, certain music and rock and roll for years. Why? Because the music has an effect upon the human brain. It does. There's no way around it. So listen to this. Ezekiel 28:13. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. This is Lucifer. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. Listen to this. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou was created. Two essences of music here. The pipes provide melody and harmony, number one, and number two, the tabrets were percussive instruments. The beat, the rhythm, the repetitive rhythm, grinding into these young people's heads. My goodness, are we not smart enough to realize that since the advent of rock and roll music in this country, we've lost our country. We've lost all of our churches. We've lost them to rock and roll. We've lost them because of rock and roll. And now somebody, and I guarantee you, that whoever came up with this eye-dosing music was being fed this by familiar spirits. No doubt in my mind whatsoever. I mean, after all, these people write these lyrics to these songs being under the influence of a drug of some kind or under the direct influence of a demonic personality. And there's no doubt in my mind that devils are writing this music, and our kids are listening to it, and it is bringing them into an altered state of consciousness. It is allowing them, and I really, if you do not have a copy of our video, The Mystery of Contemplative Prayer, I explain that. I explain how that brain thing works in that video, and I'm not a genius, but just some things are just easy. Remember, we talked about a female half of our brain and a male half of our brain. The male is the guys working in cubicles, and it's the logical part of our brain. The female part is the let's forget the rules, and our brain operates in cycles. And I want you to think about who the devil went to in Genesis 3. Did he go to the male? He went to the female. And I'm just saying to you, get a copy of that video if you don't have it. We'll send it to you. But the devil is using music, and he's using this is scary stuff to me. Look in Daniel chapter 3, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. By the way, this is an image of Pan, which is like Baphomet there, and he's playing his pipes, all the Pan pipes, and Pan has a way of getting into people's minds by playing his music. Man, what a dangerous world we live in. Let's shift gears here. Genetically modified foods and toxic chemicals are finding their way to your food table thanks to the government. Genetically modified foods and toxic chemicals are finding their way into the food you eat and other products at an alarming rate. The USDA, the EPA, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services are allowing genetically modified food and other products to be approved without considering or even knowing their negative impacts on human health. Pollinators, the very food chain that we depend on, and other key agricultural and climate issues. 163 regulatory agency reviews have been completed involving tomatoes, cotton, corn, canola, papaya, and all this other stuff. Most of these basic foods are used in worldwide in the United States. The impact of the approval and introduction of these agricultural products will have a long-lasting effects. It will take years to determine their harm on human health and the environment. Once introduced, cross-pollination will contaminate existing plants, flowers, and other crops, changing their makeup as well. I didn't know plants wore makeup, but anyway, it says they do. The article goes on to say that the USDA database for the above 163 GE crops lists the companies and universities involved in genetically modifying our crops to increase their why I tell you what, why is this Bible so right? The love of money is the root of all evil. To increase their profits and make us more dependent on their seeds, fertilizers, and chemicals. The list of chemical companies, seed companies, and universities includes, but is not limited to, Monsanto. Got something to show you about them here in a little bit. Monsanto, Dow AgroSciences, DuPont, DNA Plant Technology Corporation, Ciba-Geigy Corporation, Mycogen, Calgene Incorporation, Agritrope, and all these others. DeKalb Genetics Corporation. The listing of trait categories varies from herbicide tolerances to altered fatty acids and oils, insect and virus resistance, male sterility, and phytate degradation. I don't even know what some of this stuff is, along with other trait modifications. One of the most interesting and widespread of all the categories is delayed fruit ripening in tomatoes and cantaloupes. Basically, genetically altered, genetically modified foods. There's a documentary online that deals with this, and I'm going to do more research on it because, and I appreciate one of our astute watchers who's learning how to count things. And they sent me this video and they said, Pastor Mike, watch this video now. It's about 30 minutes long, which, you know, sometimes I have time to watch it, sometimes I don't. But they said, you've got to see at the 20 some odd minute point, you've got to see these two road signs in front of Monsanto. Now, Monsanto was based here in St. Louis. And so she said, you've got to see this. And I want to show you a clip from this video. You can find this on Google. The entranceway to Monsanto's headquarters. Notice that there's two speed limit signs. And they're like weird. One says speed limit 17. Now, who in the world drives 17 miles an hour? Anyway, speed limit 17. But there's another one. Right next to it, private property, employees and visitors only. Speed limit, 29 miles an hour. Who drives 29 miles an hour? Now, which is it? Is it 17 miles an hour or is it 29 miles an hour? Do the math. 17 and 29. 46. Just happens to be the number of chromosomes where our DNA is stored. But I'm sure that Monsanto, who genetically modifies everything they can get their hands on, probably, you know, didn't know that when they put the signs up. They probably didn't. And you know me, I'm looking at logos. I went to Monsanto's website. Here's their logo, Monsanto Imagine. Well, we've got a vine here, you see, because God told the Israelites in Deuteronomy, He said their vine is the vine of Sodom. Okay? So it's not our vine. Our vine is Jesus Christ. Their vine is something else. And I just counted. There's 11 leaves on here. It looks like a little DNA thing. And that just made me think of the Tower of Babel, Genesis chapter 11. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they all have one language, and this is they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have what? Imagined to do. And folks, this is about control. You know, the control mechanism that is in place in the United States of America, watching everything. And now we have companies like Monsanto who have. Listen, if you think that Monsanto does not have people inside the decision-making process in the United States government and anywhere else in the world, you're crazy. Okay? We're being sold out. It's not we the people. It is we the Illuminati in this world that is bringing about control so that no man might buy or sell anything without having this mark. This is where we're headed to. And it's all about the imagination of mankind. Okay? A couple more things to share with you. Catholic sex scandal as undercover reporter films priests at gay clubs and having casual flings. Duh! You didn't know that was going on? Alberto Rivera is being vindicated. If you don't know who Alberto Rivera is, one of the most maligned men in the world. Everything in the world has been said about this poor guy. He has now, I believe, gone on to be with the Lord. He is the one that claimed that he was a Jesuit priest, and that as a young Jesuit trainee, that he was. There were several students who tried to sodomize him. And these students were given a pass at the seminary that he was going to. And he recounted the vast adulterous with male and female situations that are taking place inside of Catholic ministry orders. It is going on everywhere. See, when you take away something that God has put in place in a human being, when you say, you can't do that, you are just setting yourself up. The Roman Catholic system of celibacy in priest, if you honestly believe that the priest that ministers over the Catholic Church in your town is celibate, you're crazy. You couldn't do it, and he's not doing it either. He's just not admitting, he's just not married. He don't have a ring on his finger. And this is a setup of control, and this is how all of these little boys and girls are being abused inside of the Catholic Church. It's working amazingly. The devil has had a plan for years, and it is working amazingly well. I got a verse here. 1 John chapter 2. This is a good verse, I think, for all of us to really get a hold of. It says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. Really, we should love this Bible, and we should love God, and we should love heaven. But as church people, we should not love the world. But, like everybody, that's how it's turning out to be. Churches using worldly themes, worldly ideas, even cursings. So here is Elevation Church, with their, little pyramid thing. Sermon series. And if you don't know what that means, that is a way of saying that when we say that somebody dropped an F-bomb, basically it means that they used a vulgar four-letter word in their conversation. That's what it means. And so here's this church. And now this is a sermon series on forgiveness, the other F word. But they're using, this is so vulgar and so slang. If any preacher that I sat under as a child ever would have said something like this, I'm going to talk about the F-bomb today, I'd have got up and walked out. There's no cause for this stuff, people. But this is how, and they're just mass marketing worldliness to people and selling it as God. Love not the world, neither the things in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. You see, I think these people like the fact that they can use this stuff and get away with it. And no fundamentalist preacher like me is going to tell them what to do. See, that's pride. That's pride is what it is. Here's another Elevate church. I don't know what's all these Elevate. And they have a little preacherette. Message from the pastors. The female pastorette of this church. You can see the video there. Strut your stuff for Jesus. This is in their church service. Man, oh man, oh man. Now I'm going to share this with you, and I think we're done. Somebody sent me this. Prophet Manasseh Jordan prophesying over pastors Brian and Jenny Stivale. This is at a Benny Hinn concert. And I want you to listen to what he is prophesying over these people. In fact, I want you to watch the video, and I want you to see, before I make any comment, I want you to see if you get what I'm getting from this. Take a watch.
Lead in worship for me, but before what does the Lord say to you about this too right here?
The Lord shall say that I've ordained this. The Lord shall say, I shall ordain this for a woman of God and man of God. The writing, there's a writing ability on your life. I see you writing once again. I see you writing once again. I see you guys writing different melodies and different things. The Lord shall say that God says, as you're sleeping, you will hear sounds from the heavens. And you will begin to start writing it down on paper like you did before. You had an experience when you were 12 years old, and it was almost even as a little girl, you used to see things come into your room, and you never even understood what you would see. And it was almost as if you didn't want to talk to it about other people, but yet the sight and visions would come to you. You used to see things and even have bad feelings about certain people, and you even told your mother some of the things, and they thought you were crazy and certain things that you were going through. So yet you held it back. But the Lord says that He releases it right now. But the Lord shall say that once again you will take trips in heavens like you did before as a little girl, where you used to see the angels and the archangels, and you used to see even the things that were there. God says, I'm giving you that manifestation once again. For God says, this time you go stand there and listen to the melodies and write it down. For the Lord shall say, it will be sounds from the heavens. It will be sounds from the heavens. Just like this song that is sing this right now was birthed out of the heavens. God said, you will birth music out of the heavens. For the Lord shall say, this is the beginning of something. And the Lord shall say that what your father did not finish, you shall finish it. For God says, what came against him cannot touch you. It's broken. Jesus, my name. Oh, Ramam Baba Baba. Oh, Jesus, my God.
Now, people, lift your hands and pray out loud.
Talking about events that happened since she was age 12. And as soon as he said that, she's just going, oh my goodness, how did he know that? And apparently, now this is either fake, and this was prefabricated before the deal, where these people got together and colluded together and said, now I'm going to say this, and you're going to act like, oh my goodness, and you're going to do all this stuff and react to it. It's either fake, which that's not, that shows you a false spirit where they're putting on, or number two, this guy is operating under a familiar spirit. Both are equally as dangerous. Okay, both of them are not of God. And this guy is operating under a familiar spirit who knows him and who happens to know this lady. And this lady, apparently, if this is true, she's been set up from a young age having quote-unquote angel visitations. Now, if you happen to be in the New Age movement, then these are just UFOs, aliens coming to visit you at a young age, like Whitley Strieber. But anyway, visiting her at a young age, and she's been seeing angels all these years, and she's getting music from the heavens. She's hearing this music coming to her from her inner being, and she's writing this music and going to share this music. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou was created. I'm telling you, the devil is using music. He is. Big time. Going to have our homecoming August 6th, the weekend of August 6th, Friday night, Saturday during the day, and Sunday afternoon. And man, we have got some food ready for you people. I have heard from several people who say they're planning on coming. I hope that you are. we're going to treat you very well here, and we're just going to teach the Word of God while we're here, and you can come visit our secret broadcasting bunker and get to know us a little bit, and we'd like to get to know you, and we're looking forward to all of you that are coming. And if you would, maybe the next couple weeks, just kind of send me a note or an email and just kind of let me know kind of how many is coming, how many plan on attending, so we can kind of get an idea of how much food to get ready and so on. But anyway, we're looking so forward to hosting you, to having you all here. And you pray for me that God will lead me in what He wants me to teach and what we're going to do at that time. But anyway, looking forward to it. Anyway, that's coming up. Just be praying for all of our ministries and our work and our labor here. We appreciate you so much for the prayers, the encouragement. Had several comments on my cheeseburger thing last week. Some good, some not so good. I appreciate all the comments no matter what. I love you very much, and I want you to know that you're loved, and if you ask me to pray for you, I'm going to pray for you. And if you ever just need a pastor to talk to, or just give us a call, and if I've got time, I'll spend time with you. Appreciate you. God bless you. I love you, and it's good to be with you this week. And grandbabies are they're so neat. They're so neat. Anyway, God bless you. This is Pastor Mike. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.